So welcome to our new participants. We can see that some of the new people have joined us. We hope that other people will catch up as we have to just hit the ground running now. Okay. Some years back, I was attending a program. It was a personal development program and was put together by one of the top motivational speakers in the country. I think that he had this groups where he wanted people to meet on their own and rub minds. So I was invited to participate at that program. And I remember particularly that the person who was speaking was trying to encourage us to believe in the country, to believe in ourselves. And he ended that session by playing this Timi Dakolo song about Nigeria that says, believe in Nigeria and all that. So when the song ended, we all clapped. And the man said, I want to believe that right now you're so inspired and you want to just give life the best shot. A particularly stubborn person who was in the room, happened to be my friend, said, I'm sorry, I'm not motivated, I'm not inspired. And whatever you have said here, whatever song you have played has just done nothing to motivate me. Are you telling me that just because I watched this song, all of the problems have disappeared? Is that what you're saying? The challenges are still there. Nigeria is in trouble. And it went on and on. Truly, you would want to agree with him that just listening to a session doesn't remove all the challenges. But then something occurred to me that day, and I made a contribution. What I said was this: in your lifetime, there are challenges that the world would face. And this is your lifetime. In your time that you're passing on the surface of the earth, you need to come to terms with reality that there would be challenges that people would face. Some countries are at war right now. That's their reality. Okay? For some people, it's poverty. And somebody may say, oh, Tino, you're talking, but my own country has everything packed all together. War, poverty, everything. And I would just say again that, yes, this is your lifetime. Or do you want to skip this time and come back at another time? I want you to just give a thought to it, because this is the beginning of bringing the best out of yourself. This is the beginning of maximizing your potential, accepting what the reality is. Now, please note, we're not saying that the reality should not change. But you know that people can't get started because they have not accepted reality. So as we start this morning, I want you to open your mind and just say, yes, I may be in a country where there are challenges. Yes, I may want to check out of the country at some point, but I have to just know that life itself is not easy. And in my lifetime, there will be challenges to face. And I am ready to just face them. And in spite of the challenges, still bring the best out of myself. I hope this is making sense to you. If it is, please let me know in the chat box. So this is what our session map looks like. We're going to have a few minutes to think about 2023. And what are we doing? We want to reflect. Anybody who has been a part of Life Inspired Academy already knows that we do a lot of reflection. And to support that is the quote that says that people who do not reflect do not get better. I can almost say that everybody knows that by now. We're also going to look at our personal growth model. It's so interesting that when the year 2023 unfolded itself on us, I saw the reality of some of the things we had been teaching for years. Okay, we're still talking about personal growth. And then, of course, the meat of the discussion for today, how do you get the best out of next year? How will you maximize your potential next year? And we're saying getting the best with GAP. So I'm going to tell you what GAP is in just a little while. So next up will be our reflection. I want you to think about it and I want you to talk to us, okay? You can type in the chat box. The question I want to ask you here is, What are the lessons you learned in 2023? I mean, from January till now, it's been roller coaster. We changed administration. Many people had their hopes really high. As a matter of fact, they said it's renewed hope. But then things started to happen. Inflation went out of hand. Forex is, I can almost say, confused. You don't even know what's going on. Okay? But in the midst of all of this, we are still here. How did you survive? What lessons did you learn? Or let me say, what are your greatest lessons in 2023? And I want you to type in the chat box and tell me the lessons you're taking away from this year. We're going to take our time to do this. I want to hear from you. I really want you to say something. What did you learn? Also, remember that John Maxwell, the author, the leadership expert and author, has said that experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. This is why it's not hard for people to go through things year in, year out, and then they're still not learning. There's a concept they call the hard worker who never gets better. The hard worker who never gets better. It means that person is not picking the lessons. I'm waiting to read from you. What lessons did you learn in 2023? I'm going to share mine, but I want to hear from you as well. One of the first lessons I learned is that the best time to reach for your higher heights, the best time is when everything is going well. And I know that I shared this on our next chapter platform, where I said that it is easier for you to go from peak to peak than it is for you to go from valley to peak. Okay, did you learn any lesson? Are you thinking of something, or am I just out here by myself? Please let me know what it is. Any lesson you learned? Okay, so I'm making us do this because it's just the best way forward. We must reflect on the past so as to adjust well for the future. Maybe you caught yourself saying, I think I've been extravagant in the years past, and you had to adjust. Okay, I know there were times I went shopping and there were things I would just mindlessly buy before, but this time around, I applied more thought. I'll think twice before buying certain things, okay? So financial prudence was something also that I learned again. So I want to believe that you're thinking about it and that maybe somehow you're still going to drop your lessons, but I don't want us to spend all time here on this part today. But are you following? If you're following, let me know that you're following so that I'm sure that this is working for us all. Yes, someone has said that change will not descend to your standard. Wow. Rather, you change yourself so well that the world respects your standard. Now, I'm going to clap for this. This is huge. This is huge. Change will not descend to your standard. Princess, this is really awesome. And I'm going to pin it. Okay. All right. Madam Ruth also says, I learned not to run away from challenges because it has helped me discover some hidden treasures in me. These are beautiful lessons that are flowing in now. Not running away from challenges, because if you run, challenges are just compound. And that's what happens when people do not face challenges head on. Okay? So we have two very fantastic lessons that have come in, I want to believe that other people also may still be thinking. As a matter of fact, I would want you to take some time after this session to think about the lessons you learned. Manuel says the storm will still hit the best plan. I learned to see through the storm. Wow, this is huge. The storm will still hit the best of plan. Absolutely. So you must learn to see through the storm. Okay. Thank you so much for all of those lessons that you shared. And as I said, let's still make our time before we cross into next year to reflect on the lessons learned and evaluate how we did. Tony says, in spite of the confused economy, I remained focused and reprioritized. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, the best thing that can happen for any person is to become self-aware. I remember I had a very interesting experience with my driver. I hired this man because I've worked with him for years, even before I engaged him personally. And when I needed a personal driver, I said, this is the best person. Whatever he has to be paid is what I'm going to give him. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected. He does not get ruffled by stress, you know. And then those were some of the qualities I saw. And truly, he asked for a very large amount, but I paid and just said, those qualities are worth that amount of money. But then something happened just towards the end of the year. I think that was the time he had a day off. And then the following day, as we were driving to work, he told me that something happened to him that he had never experienced before. He said he was driving and somebody bashed his car, that he parked right there, left his car, went to the second car to meet the person who bashed his car, dragged that person out, and was really ready to beat him up. He said, I had never done that in my life. I don't know what came over me. But then this was the time that the heat of inflation was on. I mean, you make money, and then as you go shopping once, twice, you cannot even see your salary anymore. So we sat that we laughed over it because he had also been part of our emotional intelligence classes where we discuss such things and we talk about the risk of fighting in public places and all of that. And he said, can you imagine the number of years that I had driven? I did that for the first time. But then that's self-awareness. You won't beat yourself up, but you're paying attention to how you're changing and how circumstances are hitting you and affecting you. So you can recalibrate and understand yourself better. Okay, I just thought to share that. Thank you so much, everyone. And we're going to just progress in our discussion. We're talking about when times are hard. How do people survive? Please think about what you saw people do around you. How do you think people survived this year? Did you notice anything about people? Did you see some people trying to make more effort? Or did you see some people give up? I actually saw some people who gave up. You know, when the rate of change is fast, some people choose that option of running away. Remember, Madam Ruth said she learned not to run away from challenges. Some people do run away from challenges. I was speaking to someone who was heavily dependent, and this person felt, oh, you could just dish out cash every time they asked. I said, I hope you find something to do, because even all of us who are out here working on both ends are trying to make the ends meet. So if you sit at home and expect that other people will pick your bills, I don't know how that's going to work.
Abi?
How did you notice that people survived in 2023? What did you see? What did you notice? If you want to share with us, you can actually type in something. But then remember that I am asking this question so that we can still think and reflect. As a matter of fact, some other people who have businesses believe that that's the time to cheat. My brother who runs an inverter business and orders batteries, parts from China and solar panels from China, actually had someone who he had been paying through and the person had never defrauded. But you know that this year that person started to gamble with their money. The person intentionally, initially they didn't suspect because she had always been straightforward. But it got to a point that they realized that, wow, this woman is actually cheating us. Okay? So Madam Ruth said, I've also learned not to downgrade my dream just to fit my reality. And that's true, to upgrade my conviction to match my destiny. We're in for a very serious business this morning with all of these very deep thoughts coming in through the chat box. So Princess said she noticed that people became more aggressive and bitter. Okay, so that's, we can call this a reaction. When change is hard, some people react while other people learn how to respond. But one of the things we're looking at this morning is that when the rate of change is fast, when times are hard, you need to be more in control. It's one of the things that we're addressing this morning. You need more control. Okay? And whatever alternatives that you're reaching out for, just believe that you need stability. I remember that we took the children out for fun during the holidays, and they were going to go on this swing, the flywheel or something they call it. And then my son was so scared. He said, this thing is going to be flying up and down. I'm scared. I'm not comfortable. I said, well, what you need to do is to hold on to the metal ropes that were there. Just hold on, because you need stability. When things seem like they're going to go out of control, there is something you must hold on to. And I'm going to talk about that just shortly. But so far, we've been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much for all your wonderful contributions. So I'm asking this question again. What's your path to success? One of the things I noticed, I remember traveling for a retreat, and I had boarded the plane with these people who were going to see a very influential person, and they were discussing how they were not even sure if the person was going to pay attention to them, but they were already spending a lot of money. Some people live their lives hanging around important people and just believing that things will flow. They can live the entire year that way, and nothing may come. I personally know people who do that. Okay? But then when you look deeply into that, you see that there is no control here. You're going to a function to try to see someone who may not even see you, and yet you're spending money. The funniest thing is the time they finally hit it and make some money, they spend all of that money either on debts they had incurred or on things that they have to acquire to be able to belong to that kind of society. There is no control. And I dare say that there is a way to succeed that will leave your self-respect, your inner peace, and your stability intact. There is a way to succeed that leaves everything intact for you. You have your self-respect. You have your inner peace. I watched some movies during the year, and I was actually watching them to understand the lives of politicians. If you know what happens in there, if you know what they go through, what they have to go through, you can see a lot of wealth around them. But a lot of times that inner peace is not there. Now, I'm not saying that it's wrong, to go into politics, but maybe the way we play it around here, inner peace, stability, all of those things are not there. They're scared, they don't know what's coming next. But then let's talk about what we call our personal growth model. Our message has not changed. Remember I said this, that this is something we've preached for years. And as the year started, I saw more the importance of personal growth, because the people I noticed around me who seemed unmoved by what was going on, or who were even progressing as things were getting harder, were people who had long paid attention to personal growth. And don't get tired, please, when I talk about personal growth. It simply means that you don't rest on your laurels. no matter how much success you believe you achieved in the past. Personal growth means that you intentionally keep getting better in your career, in your business, in your personal disposition, which we call attitude. You don't give up, you keep getting better. You look out for skills to learn. You're saying, oh, now I've mastered this. How can I still improve in my career? That's what personal growth means. And what we do at Life Inspired Academy, this is the model that we use. We say you need to acquire knowledge, a lot of knowledge. Okay, knowledge about what you're doing. But then you don't stop there. You must gain understanding. It is only when you gain understanding that you know how to apply knowledge. I know that we've talked about this for years in Life Inspired Academy. And then we also talk about wisdom. What's wisdom? It is how you apply yourself when challenges come, how you apply yourself around people, where you use your emotional intelligence. Some people can have knowledge without having emotional intelligence. And we all know what disaster that can make, most especially when you promote them to leadership positions. We're saying that when you have knowledge and you have understanding and you're guided by wisdom, you also must have a strategic direction. Nothing scatters effort more than a lack of direction. And when times are hard, you don't want to waste your resources. You want to be sure what you're doing. It isn't that the outcome is perfectly guaranteed, but you want to be careful where you put your energy, where you put your time. When you get those 4 components together, be sure that you would have what we call sustainable success, regardless of what's going on. Okay, because the wisdom there will help you know how things are changing and how you need to apply yourself better. I remember that I took so many courses this year. And at some point, it felt like all of my life investment was going into attending courses. But just before the year got to, the 3rd quarter, I began to see huge returns on all of those investments. I took an advanced course in strategy. I've been teaching strategy for years. But when I went back to school, I said, wow, this is another level. So this is what personal growth is. How you invest in yourself and make sure that you are getting better. Now, remember I said that things can be out of control. You have the circle of concern. We all know these circles from the 7 habits of highly effective people. The biggest concern is where you have inflation. That's where you have Forex. That's where you have the wars that are going on. That's where you have the palpable confusion that you see in the administration. They're not within your control. And if you put your energy in those places, the drama never ends. We'll talk more about this later on. But I want you to look at these circles and see something carefully. The smallest circle is the circle of control. This is where you spend your time, what you spend your money on. It's your private victory arena. You have complete control over what you do with your time, over who you associate with. Complete control. But notice how the blue in that small circle splashes over your circle of influence. When you control what's within your control, your circle of influence expands. It keeps expanding. And one day, if you get it right, you may even find yourself in a situation where you can influence those things in your circle of concern. That you have such a strong voice that when you talk, people are listening. I have some senior friends who are dragged into the administration, economic teams and all of that, because they've been talking over the years and now people respect them. The biggest danger is for you to not control what you have control over. I hope you got something from this. If you did, please let me know. I feel like I'm the only person talking for a very long time. Okay, Tony has also sent in something. Let me take a break and read what she said. She said, I observe that even as hard as the times are, there are still opportunities to flourish. It will only benefit you provided you're open-minded. Wow. This is another major lesson. Open-mindedness, not closing your heart and saying, all hope is lost. All hope is not lost. Okay? And we need to learn how to grow so that we can be better. The benefits of mastering your circle of control is that you put your energy to good use. It also protects your cognitive bandwidth. Your cognitive bandwidth is your creative ability, okay? That mental space that you have to profile solutions to the challenges you're facing. If you wake up in the morning and you start with the news, what you're doing is that you're depleting your cognitive bandwidth. By the time you've listened to news for 30 minutes, a lot of good energy has left you. I'm not saying don't pay attention to what's going on, but do not put your energy on those things. And of course, if you want to protect your sanity, you have to know how to carefully select what you listen to so that you're not bogged down by concerns that you have. Okay. All right. There's something I want to share here. And I came up with this concept, or thought about this some years back when I was talking to someone. The person had reasons to complain. He said, I can see that I have outgrown the phase that I am in. I mean, things are not, my finances are not matching up with my bills. People no longer respect me. They've seen so much of me in the office. You know, I've outgrown this phase. He kept saying, I've outgrown this phase. But when I thought carefully about it, I said, are you sure you don't need to make a distinction here? Did your life conditions outgrow your growth? Or did you personally outgrow those things? It happened to be the other way around. He had been on the same spot, not adding knowledge, not adding understanding, not gaining wisdom, and he believed he outgrew. Just as I said, the conditions outgrew him. Okay, so that distinction is so important to make. Have you personally outgrown your level? Okay, remember I talked about the hard worker who never gets better. And I'm going to share with you some assumption gaps that make people believe that they've outgrown a level when indeed they have really not grown personally. You're looking at a place in front of you and you're saying, by now I should be there. By now I should have this. Okay? Some of there's assumption gaps that you see. People believe that because I'm successful now, things will continue this way. Okay? Because they're promoting me on the job and I'm moving from level to level. That doesn't mean you're actively working on a career. You may be getting promoted in the office, but it may not mean that you're actively working on your career. For you to work on your career and get better, you have to ask yourself, what skills have I gained the past 15 years? If I wanted to change this job today and move to a higher place, would they take me? Okay? And of course, again, some people believe that my past record will automatically open my next chapter. I've been there. I've led this team. I gathered this fund. I generated this revenue. All of those things that you did in the past do not necessarily automatically open the next level or the next chapter. You have to strategize and actively work towards getting to the next level. This third one, some people believe that, okay, because they are good and they're religious, they will naturally move from wherever they are to another level. I was chatting with a friend who told me how he had a colleague who lost his job and that the man had asked him in the morning that, see, my child wanted plantain this morning. We couldn't give it to him because our gas finished, our cooking gas finished, and then they had to go to school without that plantain. And for that person who was sharing that story, it felt sympathy for that person. I said, wow, that's so unfortunate. But what's the person doing now to at least try to get back on his feet? Because some people lose things in life and then they just stay there. Okay? And one of the mistakes that will let you land in that position is you think that, oh, I've been good, I've been religious. And I told my friend, I said, see, it's beyond being good. Because he kept saying, oh, such a nice guy, such a good guy. I said, it's beyond being good. What are your goals? What goals were you working towards before you lost that job? If you were really growing and you were working towards something and you were networking, you would be able to find your feet. I'm not saying life cannot throw you there, but I am saying that it takes a lot of intentionality for things to move forward. I hope I'm not boring you this morning. I hope you're gaining something. And yes, now we are getting to the meat of our discussion today. Remember I said we're going to talk about gap. And gap here means having goals, having alignment, and having passion. I'm not going to spend so much time on these three, but for goals, I'll spend a little time. And I must admit that for so many years, I never liked the subject goal setting. You know how people start the year? Oh, goals, goals, goals. I just didn't like it. I felt it was this way of, just pretending to yourself and all of that. But then over the years, I began to see that, really indeed, if you do not have goals, it's almost as though you're not purposeful. Okay? Because you're just going to jump on any boat that you see that's going anywhere. All right? So, as 2024 is approaching, you want to be sure that for you to reach your full potential, you have goals. Okay? You're in alignment and you have passion. And I'm taking them just one after the other. Why do goals help you? Why do goals help? Why do goals help? Dr. Eno, thank you. I can see you're in the house. Why do goals help? Goals help you to recalibrate your priorities. I dare say that goals will remove unprofitable load from your life. The moment you set a goal, the moment you're purposeful, you would even prune your associations. A lady was telling me how she had so many friends who had this, luxury lifestyle, and she had to just belong. She was spending a lot of money. She said one day she asked herself, are you in your right senses? Are you going where they are going? She said, do you know what happened to me? I found out that suddenly I would have money sitting in my account that I haven't touched, sometimes for months. But if she was still associating with those people, she would have spent all and even borrowed more. When you have goals, you recalibrate your priorities. Okay. Also, goals help you to think and plan ahead. If you look at countries of the world that are still doing better, go and check. They have visions, they have plans. They will tell you, okay, we have this forecast that our population will double in the next 20 years, and we are reserving this for that, or we're increasing our primary healthcare facilities by 20% to cater for that growth. This is when people are thinking, this is when they are planning. And even, yes, as somebody said before, the storm can hit the best of plans. Even when the storm comes, you're better off when you have planned than when you did not even think or plan ahead. All right? We're going to be a bit interactive here. Goals, to have goals is the difference between digging for diamonds instead of chasing butterflies. I want you to think about this and just tell me, can anybody tell me, think about it. What's the difference between chasing butterflies and digging for diamond? What are the thoughts that come to your mind? In any way that they come, please, I'll be happy if you can share. You can type. If you want to speak to us, if you're sure that your network is good. Chasing butterflies, digging for diamonds. What comes to your mind? Anybody there yet? Somebody talking to us? Okay. So, okay, Princess, I can see your hand is up. Yes, please quickly, let's hear from you.
Okay, I would say that digging for diamond has to do with me asking myself, what is it that I would really throw the weight of my life on? There are a lot of things we would love to do, and there are a lot of things that passes by, but the ability for us to sit and ask ourselves, does this want me throwing everything I have? And that is you getting into the deep and throwing everything you have, and you'll be willing to make sure that you pay the amount of sacrifice required for it. Then
Okay.
chasing butterfly has to do with the easy parts, and being in the crowd. This is what everybody's doing. This business, everybody's doing this business. Let me also go and give it a try. You are just in the crowd doing what everybody is doing. And you just want to make it easy for you. You just don't want to stress yourself. You don't want to think deep. You don't want to take mental risk. You don't just want to stress yourself, but you want things to be easy. You want to get it easy. But digging gold is getting deep and throwing the weight of your life on something you know that will give you a preferred future, not just a future, but a preferred future.
Wow, is everybody clapping? I'm clapping here. That was indeed awesome. That was indeed awesome. Thank you so much for... There's something I'm going to put up here that will let me know that you saw my slides before this session. So you just hit the nail on the head. There are so many attractive things that come, and pursuing them can be fun, right? Sometimes you can easily catch a butterfly and you're happy that, oh, at least I've got something. But you want to ask yourself, what is the value? Okay, what is the value of that thing you're holding? And again, as you said, it's just choosing the easy path. When you're digging for diamond, you'll be at that point. I remember I was at a point in my life where I was laboring so hard to start a consulting company. I was studying so hard. And people would tell me, you're just working for nothing. I mean, some people didn't hide it. They said, no, you have nothing going for you. You know, why not just go for this? It's easier. Or why not go for that? It's easier. Somebody particularly told me, oh, Tino, you can't do that. Do you know the kind of people who do that? I said, wow, I can't. Okay, of course, I didn't fight the person. It's that time where people pity you because you don't have anything to show. But just as you said, Princess, once you're sure that this is where your diamond is, you throw your life weight on it. You put your life energy in it because you know that it's just a matter of time before you have your diamond. And it's going to be worth a lot. I remember going to, speak at a retreat sometime, as the year was rounding up, and the money I was paid was like 3 times what they would normally pay me. Okay. And I just sat there, I was like, wow, really? I did not even ask for it. But then it occurred to me that the value that I gave or the value I was able to give was not what I was giving before. It was different. And I was able to do that because I had been digging and digging. Okay. Also, as you said, you remember Princess, I was tempted to give you a gift, but I'm still thinking about it. I saw this quote that says, hard choices, easy life. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. Time will soon tell. I hope this means something to you. So as the new year is coming in, you want to ask yourself, am I just going to take the easy path, okay, and quickly catch some low-hanging fruit? Or do I want to dedicate myself? I have a colleague who dedicated himself to studying HR and data analytics. And by the time the year was rounding off, he was already creating softwares that solved school problems. He came to my office, showed me, said, you need to see my dashboard. But it was just this time last year when his family was away on holiday, he locked himself in the house, stayed online, took courses. That's impressive. And that's how growth helps. That's why digging for diamonds, having goals. Imagine if you hit a year without goals. I used to be like that. By December 31, you're looking around, you're asking yourself, what did I even achieve this year? Sometimes you find nothing meaningful because you entered into that year with no personal goals, with no purpose that you were aiming at. The question you want to ask right now is, where do you want to end up at the end of the day? By December 2024, what do you want to have in your hands? Okay, and this will guide your efforts. Yes, I told you we were going to spend some time there, and that's why I did. The second one is alignment. Okay, and what are you aligning? You're aligning what is within you with what you're doing on the outside. You need a vision within you. You should be able to visualize and see some things that you want happen for you. If you're not able to do this, I'm sorry to say, it may seem that things will just remain on the same level. This is what it means to think of a preferable future. I said, what would I want the future to be like? What would I want 2024 to be like for me? And then also, you have faith for it. Sometimes you're praying so hard for it, okay? But remember that I always talk about when you conflate faith and action, and we get it wrong sometimes a little in there when we have a lot of faith for something, but our actions are just not matching up. There must be an alignment with what's within you and what you're doing on the outside. Okay, the last thing that has to align would be your associations. Who are you going to team up with to make 2024 a great year? You can't do it alone. You would need some quality friends who say great things. If you keep listening to people who are complaining, the only way would be downwards, because complaints don't raise people up. There must be an alignment. Every day when you wake up and you're trusting and you're praying and you're fasting and you're doing all of that, ask yourself, how am I putting corresponding effort, action to back this up? And I believe that when we get this right, we usually get very huge results. All right, let's talk about the P. We call passion the great P. And I can say that without passion, it will be hard for us to see things through. Passion is what lets you make moves when others don't see a way forward. In leadership, we say that you don't put eggs under a dead chicken, okay? To be without passion is like putting a dead chicken to sit on eggs and you're expecting them to hatch. But then away from leadership now, also, are you carrying something within you? Are you too cold to bring it forth? Are you too cold to give birth to it? Passion is like the fire that makes you come alive. Okay, caring, you care so much that you put your effort in the right place. So passion is indeed very important. However, beware of misguided passion. Beware of misguided passion. Passion can blind you to the obvious. Sometimes people overinvest in something because they're passionate about it. They may not even do their due diligence. Okay, I suffered a lot from unguided passion. When I was much younger, I just had this passion to be everywhere, to talk, to do things. And I could be in a group where I wasn't meant to talk and I would be trying to raise my voice. Passion just makes you misbehave sometimes. Okay, you can be in a group where they've said no posting of something, but then because you're so passionate about something, you post it. Okay, but if you ask me, I would still say that I would prefer someone who has passion. If it's misguided, then we can guide it, to someone who you have to pour water on to wake up every morning. Passion is indeed very important. We've talked about having goals. We've talked about having an alignment between what's within you and what you're doing on the outside. Do not have friends that will cut your dreams to their size. My mentor would say, if you're carrying a vision that is 10 by 10, you don't associate with people who have a 2 by 2 dimension. They will cut it to their size. In no way are we saying that you should not talk to people. But as I always say, there are some people you talk to once in a year, twice in a year, you check on them from afar, but they don't come into your inner circle. That inner circle, you guard it jealously. Alignment, and then of course, be passionate. Have the fire that can make something get done. Did you get something this morning? I'm so surprised that we've spent a lot of time. I've been having fun. I hope I'm not selfish. Have you got something? Did you gain something? Are you still here?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to give time for us to ask questions. I really want to hear from you. And then at this point, let me tell you a little about us. I didn't do this when we were starting. So we have our consulting company, which is Stance Consulting Limited, leadership management strategy, and we do energy intelligence. So we run corporate training, do foreign and local retreats. But then at Life Inspired Academy, we run programs for individuals, just like this one that we're having. We used to do a lot of physical programs. I know we'll revive them soon. It was COVID that brought everyone online. And then we do life skills, business skills, personal effectiveness, most of all. All right. So this year, in January, we're going to start with Strong Start. Okay, this is a 6-week virtual training that helps people to start well. You know, in a superficial and noise-filled world, the question of what do you really want to do is not an easy one to answer. Because everything you see, either digitally or physically, they create layers of wants in you. You may watch a 15-second video that looks so perfect, and then somehow within you, you have put a standard, and you're not even aware. So when you want to start your own, you're measuring against the standards that you have seen. Meanwhile, the person who did a 15-second video could have spent 30 years learning something, toiling away before they could get to that level. So the exposure that we have is something that we have to be careful about or think deeply about and say, oh, the fact that this is there does not mean that is the standard. My daughter would always talk about, oh, mom, around my school, I saw this house is beautiful. And then when I go to the school and I see the house, I say, that house is beautiful. It cost 150, they sell those houses, they will say 1 billion, 800 million. Now I said, that house is not the standard, right? Nobody who works genuinely would have that kind of money. I mean, on the average. So if you look at it and then you normalize that luxury, you're going to be in trouble. Life is never fair. It will never be fair. We should expect that some people will always have more than you do. Some people will have less than you. So you find your space, know your reality, and it will help you better when you want to start anything so that you can be at peace with your reality. I'm already starting this course. Let me move on. All right. We've also been asked for a number of years to have programs for young adults. And this time around, we're going to do this. We're going to have physical programs and virtual classes to help young adults build their confidence, master positive focus, understand personal effectiveness essentials, and then excellent communication skills. So please, if you have people that you believe will be interested in these programs, kindly share with them so that we all can grow together. All right, I'll be taking questions shortly, but this is where we started from. The world seems to be upside down. Things seem to be going out of control. And remember what I said, you need to be in control. When times are hard, personal growth puts you more in control. If you have a career that has been going well for you, get a firmer grip on it. Move it to a next level. If you have a business you've been struggling with or you've not really been serious with, this is the time to be serious-minded. Okay, so that you can just get the best. And remember, again, I said, in your lifetime, just as it has been, some people live through genocide. Okay, some people live through wars for so many years of their lives, but we are here. And these are the challenges that we have to face. So in the midst of all of this, we still have to maximize our potential and get the best out of ourselves. Yes, finally, this is my final slide, and I'm going to take questions. There were many books I read during the year, but this one stood out for me. And one of them, as you can see, the first is How to Make Yourself Miserable for the Rest of the Century. This is a training manual. And one of the first things that you were made to do was to really compare yourself. Imagine that right now, this morning, you want to compare yourself to a Dangote or an Otedola or, all of these people that we see. Or for women, you want to compare yourself to a model who has all the beauty and everything. You cannot do that. If you do that, you would be miserable. You are you, and you have to be at peace with you. Okay? For you to maximize your own potential, you have to quit looking at other people and focus on what you have. Fan the flame into fire so that you can get the best. Also, Obstacle is the Way. That's a very great book, good for this time. And then Everyday Hero. Robin Sharma is close to my heart. His books are always on my table. I don't move them. Sometimes I just look for one word. I just look for one statement. That guy really does speak to me. So I want to say thank you for your time and attention this morning. Has it been worth your while? Do you think this has made sense to you? Do you have questions? What are you taking away? Okay, can we do this for like the next 10 minutes? Let's talk and interact. Do you have questions? Do you have contributions? Do you need more clarity on anything that we have talked about? Let me hear from you. I hope you're still here and not eating chicken silent. What's going on in there? Okay, Princess, let's hear from you. Dr. Eno says there is no chicken in Nigeria. Okay.
So there's no chicken. It's okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you for putting on this. I got so much. Something stood out for me, and I keep thinking about it. That is an assumption gap. Assumption gap. You know, unconsciously, we've been living on this for many years, even without us agreeing or accepting or even being aware of it, of which I know that somehow, I've been living on it, you know, always believing that I'm good, I'm a good person, and some things should naturally happen to me, or sometimes because of our religious mindset, we naturally believe that what God cannot do does not exist. You know, we pray about it. Because we pray about it, we have this entitlement mentality that it should naturally happen to us. It should naturally come. And this training this morning opened my eyes and made me to understand that whatever I want to be, or whatever I'm looking up to, whatever that is my expectation, I have to make it work. In fact, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. Living my life assuming that this is how it is will make me miserable, because there is no forces, there is no spiritual engagement, and there is nothing that will make me get to where I want to go, that will make me have my preferred future or dream. If not me do it, it's not going to happen. There is no miracle. We create the miracle. There is no, in fact, I don't know how to explain it, but what stood out for me is that the assumption gap is really, is a big deal for me that I have to deal with and ask myself, how have I been assuming that things should naturally work without me working, making them to work? Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. Thank you. Dr. Eno, I saw your hand up. I would love to listen to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. There's no time I come to your class and return the way I came. It's never been. So maybe you need to add that as a part of the bylines in every advert you put out. You will never return the same way you came. All right. So a couple of things stands out from this interaction. Number one, misdirected passion. I hope that's the way you put it. Yeah, yes, you have. Yeah, you have passion, but it's misdirected. It's a challenge I find myself once in a while falling into. So I need to deliberately, consciously look at that. You also made another point, which is very important, that you can't put eggs in a dead hen cannot incubate eggs and you expect it to hatch. That's not possible. Part of my application of that proverb, of that example, is perhaps one had a vehicle, a special purpose vehicle that worked in another circumstance, assuming that same SPV will apply in every circumstance, is putting eggs under a dead hen to incubate, it won't work. So there are specific things, specific circumstances that need its own vehicle to drive. And if that is not done, you end up waiting for that dead hen to incubate and get your eggs hatched. And that's a takeaway for me here. And the last one I go with is the point of alignment. See, what is within and what is outside, it's like you have explained, need to be aligned. One can have these strong, maybe you have laid out your strategies, they are perfect. Maybe you worked it out with somebody, an external person or firm, and then you don't align it to the external environment. It still may be another format for the dead hen illustration. It may not work. So there needs to be that alignment for expected results, even not better, to be achieved. So I'll take those along with me as we close the year with you in this marvelous platform. The pedestrian question, participants in meetings like this always ask is, are we going to get the training slides or video? You may wish to answer or not answer. I know you will send anyways. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's so great listening to you. And I actually love the way you couch those lessons that you're taking away. I learned a lot from that. Thank you so much. Oga Patrick says that his takeaway is that he will become in 2024 to a large extent. Is this a takeaway or a question? Okay. Oga Patrick, if you're able to shed light on this, I will appreciate. I didn't quite get that. Okay. All right. And someone had requested that we do a recap. And I can almost predict that that person came late, but then let's still oblige and go through what we said just in 2 minutes, and then we shut down. So yes, we've talked about the fact that that was where we stopped again. We started with it and we stopped with it. The lifetime thing, accepting our reality, okay, as it is now. We reflected a little and talked about the lessons that we learned in 2023, remembering that experience is not the best teacher, but only evaluated experience is. We also talked about path to success. What path would you take to success that would still leave your self-respect intact? Your inner peace, your stability. Most especially, we talked about the fact that you need a lot of control. You need to mind where you put your energy, okay? And then if you have something going for you, getting a greater grip on that, growing, really getting better, puts you more in control. You would notice that some people would be working in a very reputable organization, and then they leave. We're having a training at some point, and then, the people were saying, oh, our organization is good. And my facilitator who I invited said, do people leave your organization for other places? They said, yes. I said, so what do you think? You think this is the best place? So no matter how good it is, you find out that there is always a higher level, only if you expand your own perspectives, though. So we need to make that distinction. Are you just being promoted on your job? Or are you intentionally growing skills, developing more of certain skills because they're strategic to your goals, and which also led us to the assumption gaps? They've recapped this already. And so finally, I'll stop here. We say that for you to have a great year, you must have goals. You must purposefully reach out to achieve certain things. And then, of course, be in alignment, which we have talked about, and have passion, have the fire that can make your dreams come alive. Okay, so I want to say that thank you for your time and attention. It feels like I shouldn't let you go, but I also have to go back to family. I know you have a lot of other things to go back to also. If we don't have further questions, I want to say that I wish you a great 2024 ahead. No matter what happens, we're going to be in control, and the year is going to produce for us. As you hit the year, I love to cook. That's one of that's one of the ways I unwind. I love to cook, and I love spices. One of the things with spices is that if you use too much, can ruin your meal. A lot is going on out there. Remind yourself that you can't use all, you can't do all. A right combination of essentials is all you need. Be it artificial intelligence, be it other technologies, whatever it is that you're doing, find out your essentials, put them together in the right combination, and you can be sure that you're going to have a very great year. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So you can direct your further questions to me directly on WhatsApp, and we can keep the conversation alive and running. I can see some questions came in later again. All right. Okay, we're shutting down. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great end of year experience.
Bye-bye, ma.
Oga Patrick, good to see you.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye. The
Merry
first time I'm
Christmas,
seeing you face live and direct, Dr. It's good to see you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Too.
Wealth, good to see you. Thank you.